for ourselves. The people of Kenya will have us on the dining table in 2027 if we play around. There is also the room for recall, which has been made very flexible. So my hope is that we have a more collegial, executive at the top. We had situations where the president is addressing the nation from this end, the deputy president is also addressing the nation differently from the other end. We had situations where the president leaves the country and the deputy president immediately embarks on rallies around his ethnic community, inciting them against his own government. We want a more harmonious, relationship, going forward. And I think that is what we were talking about, collective, responsibility within the cabinet. There is still, of course, a lot to be done. You remember we are just done with the cabinet secretaries in terms of reorganizations of the government or the cabinet. There was a lot we still expect to be done at the level of principal secretaries going down. I've been advocating inclusion of all sections, regions, and people of Kenya in government. And I can tell you, look at the tweets I've been posting. Whenever I post them, even that one you are referring to, you will see people, forwarding or posting in response the ethnic formation and dominance by particular communities in various sectors. If you go to PSS, going to parastatals and going downwards. So I think those must still be looked at. We cannot have a situation, Latif, where when you come to principal secretaries, we're about 50, somewhere around there, you have a single ethnic community has 16, when, some have none at all. That engenders the feeling of inequity among Kenyans.
Okay.
And so I wish, Kindiki well. I hope they will be more harmonious, and I hope they will sit, because I want to think that it was Gachagua who was telling the president, it must be this way. These were our shares. So Kindiki going in, the warning shot is, and I think has been shot. And then the first task you should start with the president is how to bring all Kenyans on board. We want, the principal secretary's position to be reorganized and all those, going down, so that all Kenyans can feel they truly belong to their country.
Are you saying that is what has made Kenyans not get the service that they deserve from their government? Is that what the feedback from the National Assembly is? That in your oversight, you, for example, as a member of parliament, who said your biggest job there is being in the National Assembly, that in your analysis of the last 2 years and hearing the complaints and the feedback from the public, your diagnosis of this problem is that it is because of the composition of the cabinet and the principal secretaries that people are complaining about access to healthcare, access to education. People are complaining about access to financial services, access to credit. People are complaining about cost of living going high. It's all because of the composition.
No, it is not all. Of course, composition is one of them. But I can tell you, at the level of being a member of parliament, we have so many issues to deal with in the country, and I cannot agree with you more. The fact of the matter is that our economy is not doing very well. We've been operating as a country for quite some time without a proper, taxation regime. Remember, there was a time the 2024 Finance Act, was withdrawn by the president upon rejection by the people. The 2023 Act had also been collapsed by the courts. The revenue, collection measures have not been very tidy. We have a very big challenge around health, and Latif, I'm happy you are bringing it. What I would want to request, Kenyans, is not to politicize everything. Let me say, as a member of parliament, that NHIF, as good as it may have been, or as bad as it were, is no longer there and is dead. We have Kenyans now registering under, do we call it SHA? Something like that. Let me use this platform to encourage all Kenyans to register. because we've seen so many Kenyans not registering, but going to, public hospitals or even private hospitals to seek, treatment. You will not be treated unless you are registered, you see, and you fail at that level. When you register and you go for treatment and it is not given, also complain so that we know. That way we can address the systemic, weaknesses within the system so that we have this thing going. But you see, you get so many leaders, you go even to Twitter, leaders are still saying, Kenyans don't register, this is SHA, this is Adani. The fact of the matter is that NHIF is no longer there, and it was an act of parliament which brought this new regime. Let us register, let us then, very actively address the weaknesses around, the system, but based on experiences of the people. The education system, Latif, is struggling a big way. In fact, I'm happy you look at my tweets sometimes where I'm one person who does not believe this competency-based curriculum is working for Kenyans. We have children being taught by a single teacher, a whole school. And largely when you walk to those schools in my oversight, they're just on holiday there. I don't know why we couldn't just tweak the system we had a little to make it more practical and make it more modern. This one is a weaker AGCSE system, weak because we are teaching AGCSE without facilities. So you go to Turkana and children are being taught how to swim on dust there, and you see them throwing dust like many people. On a day of innovation, you go to all streets in the country, the only innovation all Kenyan children are being, presented to be thinking about is wheelbarrow and garbage collection. So you get people hooded, children in Turkana, children, from Latif's place, City's place, Kaluma. How can it be that all children of Kenya, when they think innovation is only a wheelbarrow and garbage collection? Garbage collection is not a bad thing, but we can think much more. This system needs rethinking. The funding models at the universities is crazy. I can tell you, Latif. CDF cannot, give bursaries to all our students. Just a few, I can tell you. If I showed you my phone now, the number of students are still stranded. I have, students of one parent, a very, I don't want to use the word poor, but
economically challenged.
Yeah, economically challenged parent. Very, painful. These are children we were educating using the CDF bursary. We gave them even letters to confirm these two kids were, in fact, being educated through the Constituency Development Fund, bursary. But, one is in band 1, the other one is in band 5. And they're in the same university. And these are twins. So there are things we need to address. And therefore, to cut the long story short, Latif, we've dealt with the matter of impeachment of Gachagua because it was fundamental we do so. Mm-hmm. It goes to the soul of our nation. But more so for those of us in leadership, we still have so much to address and address quickly for the benefit of the Kenyan people.
It's been 2 years, you haven't done it.
Because one would ask that the speed and alacrity with which we saw the impeachment of the former deputy president happen, that one would crave and demand a situation whereby, look at the picture that you've painted, an education system, for example, that I don't think is struggling. I think it's on its knees and barely crawling to try and make its way across any kind of finish line. So one would ask that Parliament, which bears the responsibility for legislation and oversight over such critical matters, why have we not seen that there has been serious dealing with that matter the way we saw in 2 weeks? The speed and alacrity with which we saw things happening in this country, I don't think has been witnessed in the last 5 years.
No, let me tell you.
So why can't we see a situation where something so critical for the people and children of Kenya cannot be handled when we see things going bad?
Yeah, the changes.
We cannot talk about what's happening at ECDs, which is undercounting. We cannot talk about what's happening at private primary schools. Junior secondary school is a mess even before it started. We are now looking at going into, what do they call those things? Pathways from grade 9. The first grade 9 are starting school in January 2025. We don't know if they'll have classrooms. We don't know if they'll have books. Okay, the president said the other day that they'll have all the books that they need. Teachers went on strike. University dons, last week they said midnight, they're not going to work. all of these things happening in one sector. But then we see members of parliament have gathered themselves very fast around impeachment.
No. Let me tell you, if you look at the motions and the questions being raised by members of parliament on the floor each week, by the way, the dominant number, unlike before when it was, security, are around education. And I can tell you a lot is being, done at the level of parliament. If you look at changes to the health sector, I think health sector is largely the issue of having a new system and a new law. But I can tell you, we enacted 4 acts of parliament. It's Parliament which came up with this shape, SHA, and other issues. And if you remember presentations, I was personally questioning, for instance, why would we have a shape or SHA, then a member of Parliament or other state officers, city, are insured by a private sector? It's privatization of public funds. You get what I mean? Why don't we all be insured by that SHA shape and be obligated to all be going for treatment in public hospitals? That way, we can also fight for the upgrade. I'm saying it would be wrong to say, as representatives of the people, we are doing nothing. That's why in the area of health, for instance, I'm clear in my mind, if people registered, people tested it, and gave reactions in terms of how it's working, we would be, developing it as it goes.
But people are giving reactions today. Come on, Shimiwa. People are giving reactions. When Shif and Shah came into being, October 1st, was it not 1st? People are lining up in different places. They cannot get access to healthcare. People have liver disease and are trying to kidney and trying to get dialysis. Could not get there.
There was a challenge. There was a challenge with registration.
We can't say that Kenyans are not complaining about it.
There was a challenge, and that is why I'm saying, there was a challenge with registration. One, at the level of the people. So you are sick, you've not registered, but you need treatment. Number 2 was about systems. You get what I mean? That registration system was not working in various places. I can tell you, I was with the president, when was that? About 2 weeks ago in Moiben. I was shocked in that constituency, in that area where we were. The registration numbers had not reached 15% of the people who are registered, okay, under NHIF. So it is the fear of the unknown and the testing of new things.
No,
that is why I started.
Mistrust.
Yes. So that is why I came
to tell
here.
you what it is.
Yes.
It is failure by Parliament that we have given the job of oversighting. You have come up with 4 new laws. These 4 new laws are overhauling our healthcare system, right? And you have said, so here are the laws. Those laws don't have an implementation plan, one, or anything towards implementation and what needs to happen. But as the implementation is going on, the body in charge of oversighting is not asking the questions. Where are we in making sure that people will not suffer? The body in charge of oversighting is not asking the questions even then. You are explaining and trying to give an excuse on behalf of the executive. It's a systemic issue. It's the challenges of registration. Why were there only less than 15% of people in Moiben who had registered? Did they know about it?
Number
Had
one,
they been facilitated to register? Those are the questions you should be asking. You should not be acting shocked.
You see, Latif, I agree with you in part. In part because the lawmaking process involves the participation of the people. So as we were making these laws, people knew. What we have is the problem of the fear of the unknown. We have a large bulk of Kenyans, and I believe we can do a bit of more advocacy. That is why, Latif, I came. And remember the first sentence I made when the question was raised is people should register. I'm not in the executive, but I'm saying that as a representative of the people. And I'm telling you, people should register. When you register, we know if there is a problem with registration. When you register and seek medication or treatment and it is not given, we know then, the challenge. But we have this situation where people already know NHIF no longer exists, and people refuse to register because of the bad politics.
Do they know that NHIF no longer exists?
They know.
How do they know?
I mean, we repealed the NHIF Act.
Yeah, you did that in Parliament. How did the people in Moiben know that NHIF no longer exists and that come 1st of October, SHA will be in operation?
The parliamentary process involves the public. at all levels, from the beginning to the end, and so it is presumed they know.
So you're certain that
I know
the
we
people
can.
of Moiben knew,
yes,
only that they ignored to register.
Yeah. There is also a bit of propaganda which is interfering with the minds of the people as they register.
And you're sure about this?
You know this Shah and Sheikh. You've heard the issues of Adani, Shah, Adani. So some people are like, could there be a change? I can tell you as late as this weekend when I was in Mwingi North. Remember, I started by telling you my colleagues from that region are telling people not to register. And I'm like, how then do you want the people to be treated?
But even
they're sick.
But even before,
you get what I'm talking about. So there is
before the name of Adani came into this conversation, there was a lot of unclarity in this Shah and Shia. I mean, there were explanations about it, and the questions that were being asked.
He doesn't know what people are registering to. He says Shah, Shif. He doesn't know. He wrote the law.
The health cover is called Shah, but the regime of law is Shif.
You see?
Okay.
So if the person who made the law is not clear on whether you're registering to Shah or Shif, how do you expect the person in Moiben to have
Latif,
NHIF,
when you go there, all you say is that I want to register for public cover, and it will be under Shah. The regime of law is called Shif. The social health insurance, fund.
Mheshimiwa, why do you think Kenyans don't trust this? Because that's what we're dealing with here. We're not talking about whether Kenyans are looking to go to hospital and get treated. When something like this comes about that has passed through the belly of Parliament, right? Over and over again, has been given a clean bill of health, no pun intended. Why do you think Kenyans don't trust? Because that's what we're dealing with here.
Let me be truthful. The trust levels of Kenyans in the current and even the previous government has been going down and down, okay? I'm saying has been going down and down because it is not a sole situation. You look at all over the world, the Americans are having elections tomorrow. You know what they are saying about the Biden-Harris administration, howsoever they are going to vote, you know what I mean? So the trust level is low. That is not to, take it for granted, but for us in leadership to check why could this situation be there.
Have you checked?
Okay?
Have you checked?
Yes, and then I can tell you we are checking. This is why I told you. There is a way in which I don't think Kenyans truly, love their country the way they should. I'm talking here and in the context of fellow leaders like the ones I was telling you about. And you are in parliament, you're the one who passes law. And then you go to your people who should be benefiting from the structures created in the law, telling them, don't comply. You get what I mean?
Oh, so they don't trust because they don't love Kenya. That's what you're saying?
No. The level of patriotism, and it is a value, should be encouraged to go a bit much up. You get what I mean? You are telling the common person not to register, yet you, as a member of parliament, is covered by another private insurer, maybe Old Mutual somewhere, and is getting treated in private facilities. Ask Ndu.
That's taxpayers.
Ask Ndu. I mean, let us be serious. Why should Aga Khan Hospital or Nairobi Hospital have better facilities than Kenyatta National Hospital or any other hospital?
That's the question that we asked in Parliament.
Of the House.
And we are asking these questions. But encourage Kenyans really to register.
George Kaluma, Member of Parliament, Homa Bay Town, 9 a.m. news time.